back to the channel, and in this video we will be searching the junkyard to see if we could find some good parts. So with that, let's get started. Alright, so as you can see, we did make it to the junkyard, and let's go ahead and get started searching through some of these piles to see if we might be able to find something good. Alright, so really when I refer to good parts, I'm thinking probably rims. Those are easily repairable engine blocks such as this. It's a 14B, so it's not the greatest, but definitely a great part to pick up. Air filters really wouldn't, be that great of a part. Obviously, you can't repair those, so not the greatest. Olson's not really a vehicle you see in the shop very often, so probably not going to pick that up, but yeah, I mean, with that said, we don't really have the fair lady in the shop either that often. Engine blocks. We're not really looking for vehicles, but if we were, that van you saw back there, I believe that's a 1990s minivan. Kind of a box van, I guess you would say. More made for work than anything. Might not be a bad pick for resale. Or if you're into vans, you can collect them. That's also an option. A gearbox, 14 4x4. Not a bad find. And we got another one in the same pile. What I like to do is to search the outskirts of the junkyard initially, and then go ahead and get into the interior of it, more closer to the center. See what we could find there. Now with that said, we do have an V8 engine head. Definitely a good find there. That's a generic part you see on a lot of V8 engines. Solid actual control arm. You'll see that on a lot of builds in general. Let's go with 10, and we got another engine head. Same pile. Maybe that barn location. That's a pretty good find. Gives us another location for a barn we can go to and see what we could find there. Maybe we'll do that in a future video. Now right here you can see a DLC part actually for a Nissan Silva S15 front bumper. Big fan of that vehicle. I believe do I know that's not the vehicle in the front of the garage right now. Right now I believe I still have the fair lady in the front of the garage. Nissan Silva is a good one. It comes with an S20 engine actually in it. It's not a bad engine, not a bad Nissan engine. And as you can see, we do have another barn location. Oh, big find there. We'll go ahead and count this as the exterior edge of the junkyard. Head on up. camshaft bearing. We have that there. Oops. Meant to go over, but apparently you can't go over with this one. Not that many parts. I already checked that pile. Engine block. Always a good find. See this particular model in the shop often, so I'm going to pick that up. Along with this one, which is also often in the shop, and that one, as well as the Salem. Salem and Lesser Baron. Engine 514, which probably goes with the Salem, to be honest. Timing cover. Kind of a more, how would you put it, specific type of time cover. So not that common. It looks like it is a Mazda cover, but we're gonna pick it up anyway, as those covers are pretty valuable overall. We got a camshaft bearing for a V6 engine B. That probably goes into a 370 or a 350, something like that. 340. I'm gonna pick that up. That fuel rails. I'm pretty certain those aren't repairable, so I'm gonna skip on that. Salem is a common vehicle we see in the shop. Empanada. No, Salem 1500. We never see that, unfortunately. Otherwise, we'd be able to pick that up. Why do I keep clicking this instead of the arrow? I do not know. And we got a front suspension cross member C. I do like to pick up the cross members, mainly because they're so pricey, and you know, they're a great part to pick up in the junkyard. So is the throttle. Any type of throttle you might find, as long as it's in decent condition. You know, anything above 15% is repairable, as long as it's a repairable part. So, for instance, the windshields would not be repairable. Any interior parts would not be repairable. And some mechanical parts aren't repairable. If I see any, I'll go ahead and point them out for you guys. So we have the front suspension cross member, gearbox, and another throttle. We didn't go over on this, so let's check out that other page. Teeth and bandit trunk. Do get that in the shop. Mustang doesn't come in too often, but the Chieftain Bandit does. And I do like to pick up those as well. Well, that doesn't get an option. V8 Ford engines. Any Ford engine block is the holy grail of a junkyard find, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I would like to state that, look at that, another one. But with that, I would like to state that all of these are primarily based on my opinion on what the best junkyard finds would be, not necessarily, you know, anybody else's opinion on that. Now we do have an engine block V10 OHV MT8. That'll be great for a live video, of which we do every Friday between the hours of 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Now, if you did notice, last week we did miss a live video, and that would be because I did get kicked out of my residence. So right now I've kind of been living in my car, and thankfully I'm still able to use that residence to continue recording these videos and doing live streams while searching for a job, as I still don't have one. With my background, it is surprising. We got a timing cover and an engine block, V10 engine block. It's interesting how whenever we discover these parts, we tend to discover two of them in the same junk pile. Kinda get lucky on that, I guess. Don't think that's repairable, but let's give it a try. Reptilia comes in the shop fairly often. Go ahead and pick that up. Oh, look at that, the Hammerdale Strail. If you do watch my live videos, you'll notice I do rebuilds of the Hammerdale quite often, as they sell for a good profit once rebuilt. Very good profit, over 100,000 easy. And that's profit. That's not even including the cost of the parts or anything like that. Now we got the Fair Lady Z. I have a love affair with that vehicle. So, you know, gotta purchase it. It's not necessarily one of the best parts in the junkyard, but I do like that vehicle a lot. For many reasons, really. Primarily, it was the beginning of a genre of vehicles. The Z's, you might say. We got a V8 Hemi engine block, colored yellow, at 75%. Definitely a really good find on that. And with that, let's go ahead and see if we can get into these interior piles. Find anything here. Oh, look at that. We got another one. Colored orange, I think it was. Hammered down. Fair Lady Z bumper. And of course the sailor. Bolt roulette we do get in the shop for repairs every now and then. Chief Bandit as well. Roulette, Chief Bandits. which you can see, I mean, if you see any vehicles that you might get in your shop more often, those parts might be pretty good finds for you in the junkyard. Just a rim, nice one too. Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and return to the garage. And before we actually get back there, as a matter of fact, we can go over the pricing. Now, I personally invested some points in the discount, so at the end here, you'll see a small discount for the parts that I purchased, which you can go ahead and get as well. You just gotta invest points in it. So with that, we do have full price of 341 credits. With a 15% discount, that comes to 290 credits total. So with that, let's go ahead and get back to the garage. Okay, so we did get all of those parts. Now, I would like to mention a few things here as to what you could do with those parts once you get them. So essentially, one option is to go ahead and repair the parts like I'm about to do here. You can just go ahead and repair those parts, and you have options. A, you could repair them and sell them for a profit. Usually that's a pretty good way to make an extra profit when you're just starting out. Like you might notice I have recently on my live gameplays on Fridays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. within the expert mode. Or you could also go ahead and repair those parts for later use, storing them in your warehouse until you need them later. Another use for them, which is what I tend to do with my engine rebuilds, is go ahead and repair those parts, save them in the warehouse for later rebuild of engines. That way, when you do get vehicles for repair in the shop, like let's say you have a great deal of faulty engine parts on it, you could just go ahead and swap out the engine. Or if you're just doing a rebuild of a vehicle, you could swap out that engine. Or if you just want to swap out an engine for a vehicle in your parking garage, you could also do it that way. So those kind of come in handy. And body parts are pretty much the same. You could sell them or store them on those. That's really the only two options. You could also scrap these parts too. That is another option if you need more scrap parts. You can always go to the junkyard and just pick up any junk parts that are above 15% and go ahead and scrap them. That'll give you more improvement parts essentially. I would like to thank you for watching this video on the best finds in the junkyard. And if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to click the like option on the bottom of the video. If you would like to see more of this content, please feel free to click subscribe. And don't forget to check out my live episodes, of which you could find a link to last week's episode in the upper right hand corner of this video, and every Friday between the hours of 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.